Staying within our efficiency and effectiveness section, we're going to look at Porter's value chain. So this is the value chain created by Michael Porter in 1985. First of all, Porter identified things he called the primary activities. These are the inbound logistics, that's getting the goods, services and people into the organisation. Operations is what the company actually does with it, so the processes and what it does to turn it, and then outbound logistics, getting it out from them to the customer. Marketing and sales, obviously what they need to sell their particular product or service, and the service is anything that goes along with making sure that the product or service is dealt with effectively. So it might actually be back office things such as cleaning your offices to make sure that you can deliver your service, etc. Then Porter identified secondary activities such as procurement, technological development, human resource management and firm infrastructure. So procurement looks at the purchasing of etc. We're going to cover it all more in detail, so I don't want to go into too much. Technological development, what technology can help you with these sections. HRM, so how can your staff help you with these areas, and then the firm structure. And as you can see, all this creates on the right the margin. So this is how it adds value to your organisation. So we can minimise things or extend things to create more value, to create a bigger margin. Okay, so let's take each one. Let's start with firm infrastructure. Firm infrastructure, as the name says, is all those other supplementary areas that can help bolster or reinforce the particular organisation. So is it that you operate in a silo mentality because that works for your organisation? Are you more of a geographic organisational structure, so you base more of where you are, or more of a functional structure, so it really helps focus and reinforces what it is you're trying to do. So does the infrastructure really help deliver whatever it is you're trying to do to make the most margins? Next, then we'll look at procurement and inbound logistics. So that's maybe somewhat simple as, are you buying your supplies cheap enough? Is there cheaper ways to get your supplies? So if you use a certain grade of steel in your car manufacturing, could you get them from cheaper places? Could you get some things ready-made so that you have to do less in your operations? That'd be the next point, operations then. So are you using the most efficient and effective machinery? Sorry, have you bought the most efficient and effective machinery? Are you utilising it in the most effective way? Are you using the right kind of what they're called consumables? So with your printer, using the best kind of ink to do whatever it is you're needing. So your operations, how can your procurement, your purchasing help you do what it is you do? Then outbound logistics, is it the best way to get it to the customer? So are you using, so once again with procurement, are you looking at sourcing the right kind of company, such as the logistics company that gets your goods to your customer? So is it done in the right time? Marketing and sales for procurement might look at, you buying enough ad space? Are you buying the right kind of ad space? You know, are you purchasing putting your databases, are they up to date for, you know, you're buying your customer details to get the right kind of people? And as I said, then services, are you buying the right kind of services? So do you have the right IP, so intellectual property rights for your organizations or your products? Are you using the correct kind of accountants maybe for your company? So this is all rough areas where procurement might have helped. Technological development, so you know, how can you order in your supply? So I used to work with a company and they had the EPOS system, which was electronic point of sales, and it was really simple. It was a frozen food company, and you know, every time they sold 12 bags of chips, it would order a new case. So it would do it all automatically for them, so they didn't have to look and check their stock levels. It would automatically know how many they've got in stock, and when it gets low down, bring it in. Once again, it knew when they had their busy periods, etc. So technological developments for operations then, are you using the most efficient and effective bit of kit? So right now this is being uploaded to YouTube. So is that the most effective way for me to do what I can do? Is it better to upload it to my what we call a VLE, virtual learning environment? Is YouTube just my VLE? Which is the most efficient and effective way to do whatever it is you do? So outbound logistics, you know, so can your customers maybe track their order? So once so this is kind of crossing over from operations to outbound logistics, and they track where the order is in the operation process, and then where it is when it's being delivered and sent over to you. Many years ago, there was this thing called Nike ID, I think they're called, where you can design and make your own Nike trainers. And I had it was silly how much fun I had just tracking where it was. So my trainers, I think, travelled halfway around the world to get to me, and at different stages, obviously, they had the colours put on, then the special stitching done that I required, and the naming and that I had written on it, and then it was processed and shipped around the country to get to me, etc. It was quite interesting watching where it'd go to. I amused a few of my friends doing that. Marketing and sales for technology development, once again, if you look at, I know some companies where you ring them up to order something, but it just still does it as a computer. They don't need a person there to write things down because the person might make mistakes. The way it does it is it recognizes what you're saying, recognizes it back to a catalog number, and then it recognizes your phone number, and then it charges it all back to you. So it's a very efficient way to do this. Services, technology, you see adverts on TV for things like QuickBooks. So if you're an SME, are you using an accounting system that's most efficient and effective for you? So QuickBooks eliminates or minimizes the need to use an accountant. So you can do that using the services of technology. Or once again, GoDaddy or oneandone.co.uk, these companies that create basic websites for you. So it's a nice technological development that helps you develop your customer service. HRM, inbound logistics. This might be your hiring process. Are you going to the right place? I'm currently thinking about rugby league, and I'm intrigued in not just rugby league, actually, in most of them, how they develop referees. And I think what they seem to do is they seem to look at people at the lower levels who have a passion for refereeing and then try and develop those. Now, that doesn't happen in most of industry. In most industries, you would just get somebody who doesn't know and train them up. I don't know why they don't do that in referees, because that way one could argue if they have a passion, they also have that could also cloud their judgment. They have certain things they like in the game, certain things they dislike in the game, and therefore they referee harsher towards that. So with rugby league, it might be the slowing down of the ruck area or high tackles, etc. A real dislike or not too bothered about things. Whereas if you got somebody who's a complete neutral to the game and you train them as a clean slate, would that not be a better way to do it? So that's looking at inbound logistics and resource management. Are you training and developing your staff well enough? For operations management, people need to be able to move forwards as the company moves forwards. Are you training and developing them? Are you keeping them motivated? Then outbound logistics, unfortunately, might be looking at firing people. Are you firing people, the right way? Are you making sure that you have a succession plan? So when somebody goes, do you have somebody to take over their place? Marketing and sales, do you have the right people doing the selling and marketing of your organization? Are there enough people making sure your customers are happy and they have enough information about the products? Or services, as I said, the other things that you might not think about. So it might be things like canteen staff, Never underestimate how much canteen staff can really make a company go a little bit more efficient, a little bit more effective. I've worked in various institutions with various levels of canteen staff, with those that kind of almost resent you being there, to those who get to know you by name, what you like, and where I've had it where I'm walking in the canteen and they're plating up of my favourite foods from the selection available, and just that makes your afternoon go a lot quicker. I know it's something silly, but just those auxiliary staff that we maybe do forget about, but they are integral to the running of the organisation, and how can we move and develop those forwards? So just lose that then, so you can have a clean, nice look at Porter's value chain, as we can see there. It links the primary objectives to the secondary objectives. That's the key thing. Often when you see this done, it's highlighted more as a model, whereas I like to show it this way so you can add in the sections yourself, because you need to be able to see what your company does well or bad at and write that in the boxes so you can do more or less of to really help you increase those margins.